Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm George Lewis Jr. Welcome to Wednesday evening with the Peoria Municipal Band. Actually, the first Wednesday of the 2019 season. We're glad to be here. Glad you showed up for our concert. Up, up, and away. No, not up, up, and away, but a lot of hot air. That's our theme for tonight. Miss Jennifer Rosa is our vocal soloist, and our saxophone section will be the instrumental section featured in the band. A lot of good music. Glad you are here. Somebody kept the rain off, and that's a good thing. I'm not even going to say the R word. So please welcome our vocalist, Jennifer Rosa, and Dr. David Froman.
Please stand if you are able and join me in the singing of our national anthem. Oh, say, can you see the dawn's early light? What so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. For the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming on the rockets and glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Our sailors that star-stained moon proudly yet wave. Oh, the land of the brave, at the helm of the brave.
Well, good evening. Great to see you out tonight. And a couple things real quick. It is, it's Hot Air Balloon Day. How many people knew that? Now you do. Now how many people know it's Hot Air Balloon Day? Yeah, don't you know that? It's every June the 5th. Don't you get up every morning and check and see what day it is, and today's Hot Air Balloon Day. I want to tell you that the first balloon, as far as they know, the first human flight, 1783, Paris, France. But before that, in 1783, in June, because that was in November, but in June, they said it was a pig and a duck and a rooster. That's who flew. Went to 6,000 feet, came back down. Then it took several more months for the humans to get brave enough to try it themselves. Okay, flight lasted 10 minutes, went up 6,000 feet, off they went. Back then, of course, sackcloth and paper. I'm not sure I would ride in that particular balloon. Today, there's a whole industry. And how many people have been in a balloon ride, by the way? Oh, yeah, not bad. Great. Well, we're glad you could join us tonight. Some of the music will relate to that theme. Some of it won't. We're going to start with a piece by Richard Saucedo, who was an outstanding high school band director and composer over in Indiana for a number of years before he retired. And then he just does a lot of writing. So he wrote this piece, which is called Persistence. And what he was inspired by is just simply the human spirit, the ability to do what those people did back in 1783 with balloons, to take a risk and to learn something new and to stick to it through failure and everything else. And that's what he tries to express as this human emotion, which he calls persistence. This next concert march we have for you is by a gentleman named Eric Osterling. And years ago, Eric Osterling used to write a lot of what we would call today educational band music. In other words, it was intended to be played by community bands, college bands, high school bands, junior high bands. That's what he wrote. He did a music education degree that he earned back in 1948 from Ithaca College, and then became the director of music education in Portland, Connecticut. Anybody been to Portland, Connecticut? Anybody been to Connecticut? Good, okay. And he was even named the Man of the Year out there for all the work that he did. But terrific composer, still being played here years later, and you'll enjoy this march. He just simply calls it Thundercrest. And with all the rain we've been having, I thought this was appropriate. Thundercrest Concert March. Jennifer Rosa, who you've met briefly, I think this is her third year singing with us, third summer since she's come back from New York City. She spent over a decade out there in New York City, and when she was out there, she sang at many of the stadiums that were out there for a lot of major league sports. She did 30 concerts in Carnegie Hall with the Oratorio Society of New York. She was a soprano member for 10 years out there. And she's performed with different people like James Taylor, and Yo-Yo Ma, and Itzhak Perlman, Renee Fleming, Martin Short, and countless others. She's performed at Lincoln Center. She's a soloist, as we know, because that's what she's doing for us this evening. But she's also a collaborator and works with other folks as well in terms of putting programs together. And they perform in a lot of the landmark churches that are out there, as well as nightclubs. And you can even hear her on rapper, how do you say that, Jennifer? Lecrae, his Gravity album. How many people have that album? Okay, never mind. So she's also the co-founder, executive producer of Flat World Records, which is a really neat company. It's a collaborative event concert audio production company that created what they call the Electric Cathedral. And it's sponsored a number of different creative projects throughout New York City. And those of you that come out for these concerts and supports the arts here in Central Illinois, you would have loved that out there as well. Please welcome our vocal soloist for the week, Jennifer Rosa. Jennifer?
I'm so happy to be here because it's Hot Air Balloon Day. Is that exciting? But I'm more excited because today is my husband's birthday, and we made a really big deal out of it because he spent his time picking out my outfit. Thanks, honey. So this first song, I noticed that a lot of my repertoire is like real arias and like fake arias, and this is a real short aria from a real short opera, Puccini's Johnny Schicchi. The daughter is pleading with her father because she wants to marry the love of her life, and her father is not approving, and so she, of course, threatens to throw herself off a bridge, and that's a really bad idea. I don't think you should do that, but sometimes the worst ideas make the best songs. This is O Mio Babbino Caro. This next one is, okay, follow me for this. It's not a real aria, but it is a fake aria within a fake opera, within a real Broadway musical about the Phantom of the Opera. You follow? You're all smart. You followed that. This is Andrew Lloyd Webber's Think of Me. of me fondly when we've said goodbye. Remember me once in a while. Please promise me you'll try. When you find that once again you long to take a look and be free, if you ever find a moment, spare a thought for me. Think of all the things we've shared and seen. Don't think about the things which might have been. Think of me waking, silent and resigned. Imagine me trying too hard to put you from my mind. Recall those days, look back on all those times. Think of the things we'll never do. There will never be a day when I won't think of you. We never said our love was evergreen or as unchanging as the sea. But if you can still remember, stop and think.
Jennifer, I do want to say when I thought about this theme, it had nothing to do with you. Okay. Just wanted you to know that. She'll be back in the second half with more. Sometimes out of tragedy comes some great music as well, and this has a sad story associated with it. There's a young man named Kyle Dickon down in Poplar Bluff, Missouri, and their house caught fire. He was an active band member. He was involved in the wind ensemble, the jazz band, the marching band down there in Poplar Bluff. He played tuba and trombone, super dedicated young man. When the house caught on fire and he got outside, he realized that his younger brother was not outside, and he went back to save him, and they both perished in this fire. So a tough thing. And John Prescott is a faculty member at Missouri State. He's been down there since 1986, and so the band decided one of the ways that they would handle this would be to commission a piece and have it written in his memory, in Kyle's memory. And so they use Amazing Grace. You'll hear Amazing Grace, those fragments throughout here. And but they also didn't want it to just be the saddest song that you've ever heard. They wanted to express his personality a little bit, very outgoing, very friendly, and very well liked by everybody. So this is John Prescott's setting, and he just entitles this Bright as the Shining Sun. There any people here for the first time? Never heard this band before? Visiting? A couple people? Todd Pilon raises his hand out there. A new experience each time. Did you hear him? I'm not going to say anything. But those of you that are actually here for the first time, we welcome you. One of the fun things about a band like this is the ability to play lots of different kinds of music. So you heard an original march, and you've heard some classical music, some opera, some not real opera, fake opera, and now we're going to hear a little bit of Billy Joel. Does anybody even know who Billy Joel is? How many people know Billy Joel? Okay, this song comes from 1974. Okay, 1974. I don't even think I was born then. And it's on the album Street Life Serenade. And it was also the name of his newsletter. He had a newsletter that was out in the 70s and the 80s. How many people remember what the name of the newsletter was? Billy Joel's newsletter. Okay, never mind. Todd, do you know? Because it's a new experience for you every time. Root Beer Rag. Root Beer Rag. And so he played this, and then Michael Sweeney got a hold of it and got permission to make it into a saxophone quartet solo. And so we have Stephanie Kirk. There she is. Wave, Stephanie. Nice job. Jake Klein, George Graves Jr., and Josh Hopper on the big saxophone, the Barry sax. saxophone section. Give them another round of applause, would you please? So those of you that are new, our schedule, we rehearse on Monday nights for 3 hours, and then we play this concert. And then on Sunday night, we play at Glen Oak Park. Want to remind you about that. Glen Oak Park, we play out there at 7 o'clock on Sunday. And some of the music is the same. Like if you like the saxophones, you can come hear them again on Sunday night. But as far as Bright as the Shining Sun that we played right before that, we won't play that again. So each program's a little bit different. So some people always say, well, don't you play the same things on Wednesday and Sunday? A couple things are the same, yes. And then much of it is not the same. So one little rehearsal and put things together and off we go. This next piece was originally written way back in 1904. And it was done by an Italian who was living in Paris at the time. And it ended up being kind of what he would call a gypsy waltz. Okay, the composer is Marchetti, died in 1940. And then a guy named Dick Manning got a hold of it here in this country in 1932, and they wrote some English lyrics with it. And suddenly it became kind of a hit. In fact, in 1957, and if you think, how many people remember, Bill, do you remember 1957? Okay, so 1957, how many people remember 1957? And you could have lied, you didn't have to raise your hand, it's okay. So during that year, there were some heavy hitters that were being played on the radio, if you think about it. Elvis Presley, the Everly Brothers, Paul Anka, Perry Como, Pat Boone, Chuck Berry, Jerry Lee Lewis. There were a whole bunch of really terrific people. But there were also 3 singers that had the same song, and it was on the Billboard like top 10. Dinah Shore, Dick Jacobs, and David Carroll, all in the same year, sang this song, and it was in the top 10 in that very same year. This is Marchetti's Fascination. So that concludes the first half. If when you came in tonight, you stopped back there at the table and saw one of our band commissioners wearing these blue shirts tonight and you signed up, you might just win in a couple seconds a gift certificate from Famous Dave's. And so please welcome Lee Wenger and our commission chair, Mr. Jim Hopkins, to take care of this drawing, would you? And then we're going to take a short break. We'll be back with more.
And there was great applause. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Jim is there asking one of the band members to draw a name out so that you know we're not cheating in any way, shape, or form. We have one winner tonight, and you're going to get a pair of certificates from Mercedes Restaurant to use at Famous Dave's right across the river. So when you hear your name, please come on up or at least let us know where you are so we can get to you. And the winner tonight, as well as I can read the writing, is Daryl Eastman.
That makes sense.
Daryl Eastman. Calling Daryl Eastman. Back there? Oh, he's the one that tells me every week he never wins anything. You can't say that anymore. Friends, get to know somebody that you've never met down here tonight. Glad to see you out in community all the time. And enjoy your intermission. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
theme song from the 1972 movie called The Cowboys. Who did the Cowboys feature? John Wayne. It was written by John Williams. Todd, every concert, a new experience. Another famous writer, a prolific songwriter actually, was a gentleman named Jimmy Webb. And Jimmy Webb wrote Wichita Lineman. Jimmy Webb wrote Up, Up and Away, which you're about to hear in a minute. He wrote MacArthur Park. And all this because of Glenn Campbell, the country guy Glenn Campbell. Webb heard a song that he had done. He still remembers he got his first album, and it had Campbell's single on it. It was called Turn Around, Look at Me. And his dad was a Baptist preacher, and he said, I got down on my knees by my bed, and I said, Dear God, please let me learn how to write a song even half as good as Turn Around, Look at Me. And please let me work with someone like Glenn Campbell. He was just a kid when he did that. 10 years later, he's writing music and working with Glenn Campbell. And so he had great success, of course. In Southern California, did very well, wrote music for the Supremes and Johnny Rivers and all sorts of different people. Up, Up and Away, and some of you will remember The Fifth Dimension. The Fifth Dimension did this. So here we go. This fits our balloon theme, Jimmy Webb's Up, Up and Away. Want to remind you about Sunday night. You can see Jennifer's anxious to be out here and sing for you again. And then Sunday night, she'll join us at Glen Oak Park as well, 7 p.m., no rain. Please welcome Jennifer Rosa.
I'm really glad he cleared up the whole full of hot air comment, because I really did take that personally for so long. No, this next one is a real arietta from the operetta, The Naughty Marietta. Whole lot of etta going on. You've probably heard it either in the show or in the movie. It's lovingly been used in Young Frankenstein, and if you know that reference, you're a little naughty. Anyone? Okay. This is Ah, Sweet Mystery of Life.
Sweet mystery of life, at last I found thee. Oh, I know at last the secret of it all. Oh, the longing, seeking, striving, waiting, yearning, the burning hopes, the joys and idle tears that fall. For it is love and love alone the world is seeking. Oh, and it is love and love alone that can repay. 'Tis immense, it is the end and all of living. For it is love alone that rules
enjoy doing this because they are just so great, are they not? And I like to do yes, please. This last song I like to do whenever I get a chance, especially when I get to play or sing with people like them. I play voice. This last one, it's not a real aria or a fake aria, but it's often done by opera companies, and it's really meaningful to people for different reasons personally. For me, it was my first paying job because I auditioned with it in high school and I got into Opera Illinois. So opera companies do the show, Carousel, Rodgers and Hammerstein. And another reason why I like it is because years later, unbeknownst to me, this song has a lyric in it and one of my children's names is in there. And so it's like a little Easter egg for me. So those are my little reasons why I like it. And if you guys know this song too, it could be special if you want to sing along with me. This is You'll Never Walk Alone. Thank you.
Don't be afraid.
Thank you, Jennifer. So she'll be with us on Sunday night, and if you're free Sunday night, especially if you have company in town, you have neighbors that you like or don't like, bring them to the concert. Glen Oak Park, 7 o'clock, and bring a lawn chair, bring a blanket, or sit in the park benches that are provided out there, but we'd love to see you out there. I want to remind you about a concert coming up this Saturday, June the 8th, just down at the other end of the street here, and it's the Peoria Riverfront Jazz Festival, and it features Brianna Thomas, who grew up in this area. She's coming home to sing, and then Tom Bones Malone, so if you know about the Blues Brothers, okay, that's where you would find out about him, and also another local that's done quite well, Stuart Mack. They're all going to be back, and that's June the 8th from 3 to 10 p.m. That's a whole afternoon of music for you to enjoy. So who sings the song Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious? Mary and Bert. Which actresses were under consideration to be Mary Poppins? You can't say Julie Andrews. She got the gig. Who didn't get the gig? Betty Davis. Can you imagine that? Me either. Mary Martin. Angela Lansbury. Yeah, they were all right there. And what does Mary have on her umbrella? A parrot, that's right. The band knows all these answers. And what do Mary, Bert, and the children jump into? Right, sidewalk picture. Bert draws a picture, and Mary wants to show the children, and off they go. Final question, since we've legalized gambling in Illinois, what color is Mary's horse? Purple. Does she win the race? Yes. Mary Poppins. have a couple songs that you'll recognize. And they come from George M. Cohan. And many years ago, they kind of called themselves the 4 plus Ethel. George was just 17 at the time, but his songs and his all the little songs and skits and the different management that he did really is what made the family extremely successful. In fact, back in vaudeville in the late 1800s, they were making $1,000 a week, and that was big money back in the day. And, of course, the famous lifelong trademark that was always made fun of is that George would say at the end, "Ladies and gentlemen, my mother thanks you, my father thanks you, my sister thanks you, and I thank you." You'll recognize these songs. Well, we want to thank each of you for coming out this evening and enjoying the concert. I hope you enjoyed the concert. And then Sunday night, 7 o'clock at Glen Oak Park. And so several people to thank this evening. First, I want to thank the Band Commission for all their work. And then you should have been offered a handful of these that you can share with your neighbors, putting it in your car. So do you guys still have some left at the table back there? Yes, they do. And that was Lee Wenger, ladies and gentlemen. And they do have those flyers. And don't just take one for yourself, but take several and pass them out. Put them around the neighborhood. You know, friends, enemies, doesn't matter. Just pass it out. Let people know. Take it to your place of business. And, of course, we'll be going all the way through August. We also want to thank all the folks down here at Kelleher's for their hard work putting out the extra tables. So give them a round of applause, would you please? We want to thank Jennifer Rosa, our vocal soloist. Give her a round of applause. And our saxophone section back here. The saxophones stand up. They're not usually shy. We also want to thank Todd Pilon for taking care of sound. And tonight's concert was actually live streamed. That's George Bean there. Mr. Bean is live streaming the concert. He's got 5 different, 50 cameras set up. I don't know. He's got a lot of electronic device. He was very happy it didn't rain. And so he's live streaming. And then, of course, in this band, it takes a number of people, to really make this thing go. Our assistant conductor is Laurel Filzen Etzel. Give her a round of applause. Our librarian's Kristen Sheets. George Graves Jr. is our band manager. Liz Driscoll does publicity. Frank Gutierrez helps with everything else. And there's hundreds of other people that help. Give them all a round of applause for their good work, would you? So we hope to see you Sunday night, and if not Sunday night, maybe you'll come back next Wednesday and join us again right here at 7 o'clock. We close as we always do, giving you a few moments to reflect on what a great country it is in which we live. This is America the Beautiful.